as to count 2 of the information. The defendant is guilty of trafficking in methamphetamine, 28 grams or more, but less than 200 grams. We, the jury, finds as follows as to count 3 of the information. The defendant is guilty of possession of cocaine. Date 3/27/2025, signed by foreperson.
Does the defense or the state wish the jury to be polled?
The defense does, Your Honor.
Please poll the jury, Madam Clerk. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges that you enjoy as jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. The lawyers and their representatives are not permitted to initiate any communication with you at all. Although you're at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to speak with no one. A request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious, from those who might seek to find fault with you, from the media or elsewhere. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. Our legal system is based upon the principle that an independent, fair, and competent judiciary will interpret and apply the laws that govern us. The role of the judiciary is central to the American concepts of justice and the rule of law. Please recall the words of U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice Stone shared with you before jury selection began. Jury service is one of the highest duties of citizenship, for by it the citizen participates in the administration of justice between individual and between the government and the individual, by which he meant that you, as jurors, become part of the independent, fair, and competent judicial system that is a foundational part of the principle of the American system of justice. For over 2 centuries, we've lived by this system. Even with its problems and criticisms, the system of justice created by our founders in our Constitution remains the envy of those in the world who strive for liberty. On behalf of the citizens of the state of Florida, the First Judicial Circuit, and Okaloosa County, and all of us, I thank you for your service. I will now, for the last time, put you in care of the bailiffs for your discharge. Thank you and good evening. All rise for the jury. All right, you may be seated. All right, now let's, with the other counts, well, first, based upon the verdict of the jury, the court does adjudicate the defendant guilty of counts 1, 2, and the lesser included offense of count 3. We'll reserve on the question of sentencing until you have the opportunity to talk to your client regarding the disposition of other cases and what we're going to do with those, because the other 2 are remain pending, and whether or not we need to set this for a full-fledged sentencing hearing, and you need a reasonable time to have time to talk to him and consult with him on that. now's not the time to do that with other matters pending. So what we'll do is, I think, should we set this for a status, Mr. Nopes, on 4/24? You're gone on the 14th, right? And I think we're kind of packed anyway on the 14th. I think his other two cases
You
are
mean the 17th, right? I just want to make sure that I have my court dates right.
the 17th.
Okay.
The 17th and the 24th, right, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I think we're packed on the 17th. So we can set it for status on the 24th. I think the other two cases are currently set on the 12th. The May 12th or not.
They're tracking right now.
They're tracking with us. So we can either set these all on the 24th, or we can set them for the next trial cycle. Mr. Nopes, what is your preference?
What time on the 24th?
I would anticipate if we're going to talk about sentencing, we'd put that at 2:30.
We currently have 6. And then there's 34 in the
No.
morning.
Okay.
Oh, so I've got a motion to suppress.
Yes, we do.
Is that
I
here?
think it is.
Is it on the 24th?
I'm not
All right, do
mistaken.
you just want to move these then to the 12th? And then if you want to move them up for sentencing, you can, and then we'll put the other two cases to track with that.
April 12th? When you say the 12th, April 12th?
No, May 12th,
Oh, May 12th.
the
Yeah,
next trial cycle.
Yeah, let's just put them on the May 12th.
Okay. And then when you have an opportunity to chat with your client and work through those details, then if we can move it up, we can.
Okay. So 9 o'clock on the 12th?
Yep. And since with his detention status, it'll actually be the 14th, right?
Would you like to set that now on the 14th or just?
But we'll set it on the 12th, because everything's noticed for the 12th, but because of his detention status, he'll actually come on the 14th.
Okay, so I'm going to.
Right, because it's the 12th and the 14th, Mr. Nopes and Mr.
Put it on
Gomez.
the 14th then, May 14th. Got it.
All right. All right. Anything further, or are we adjourned?
Yes, sir.
All right? All right, thank you very much. Well, no, that's not true. We've got to get the evidence back, and you have to review the evidence and be sure it's all been returned with Madam Clerk before we adjourn, okay?
Yeah, sure.
So let's get the bailiff to get the evidence back from the jury room.
He took it now, want me to go run and get it?
Yes, please.